Worlds is upon us once again, and I am a kid on Christmas Eve. If you don't know, Worlds is a 24-person invite-only tournament where the best the game has to offer duke it out in a variety of formats to crown a champion on the world's biggest stage. There's an absurd amount of prize money up for grabs, and each match win gets you a pro point for the following season, meaning every single match played matters. Every year I do a write-up for my predictions for the event. I figure with the revival of AGTV, I might as well do a video instead. I have 3 quick disclaimers to make. First and foremost is that this is entirely my opinion and that you are totally allowed to disagree. And if you do disagree, that doesn't mean that one of us is stupid or mean. Every time I do one of these, I make the disclaimer bigger and clearer, and I still somehow receive hate for it. So do everybody a favor and don't be that guy. My second disclaimer is that edges are very small in Magic, especially once you get to the, super upper tier, that high echelon. The edges are just razor thin. It's a 24-person tournament, meaning that all things equal, each player has just above a 4% chance of winning, and I highly doubt that number would fluctuate much higher than like 8 or 9%. Lastly, I want to divulge that I am friends with many of these players. I don't let my airplanes interrupt my recordings. I think they're landing on the roof. Lastly, I want it to be known that I am friends with many of these players. I don't let my biases affect my ratings, but I would of course hate it if somebody took offense to their placement or my analysis. This has nothing to do with our friendship. I still love and respect you, and if you're upset by something, talk to me and we'll sort it out. This hasn't been a problem in the past, and I don't think it will be a problem this time. Somehow doing it in video form rather than text form feels a little more personal. Just making absolute sure, that nobody gets offended by this. Well, somebody has to be last, and it's almost always the Rookie of the Year or the Mox winner. Seeing as they didn't even invite the Rookie of the Year this season, we're left with Magnus Lantau. He certainly has a leg up over his predecessors in that he's been around forever and actually has real-life results. Or rather, result. He won GP Milan back in December, and while it was a modern tournament, he won it with Birthing Pod, a deck that is no longer legal in the format. He won his slot into the Mox Finals in Legacy, and won the Mox greatly on the back of his vintage play, neither of which help him here. Magnus is one of the 4 players in the tournament not in the top 25 pro rankings, and with a tournament low 24 pro points, I have Magnus Lantau slotted in the 24 spot for Worlds. The second Latin American invite goes to Thiago Saporito, better known as the famous or perhaps infamous Moto grinder Bolivo. He got 9th on Breakers in Dallas, 3-0ing both of his drafts, showcasing his abilities in Origins Limited. This tournament is a lot about momentum, and unfortunately he bombs the Pro Tour the week after, and his PT top 8 came from Pro Tour Khans of Tarkir, the first of the season almost a full year ago. At that Pro Tour he seemed extremely nervous in his top 8 match, but he actually recovered fairly well and put up a great set against Ari, falling just short due to a top decked Elspeth. That's the level of composure that will be needed if Saporito wants to put up a good result. For Worlds, he's working with countryman PVDDR, as well as the person that he beat in the quarters of PT Khans, Andre Strasky. If either of those young guns puts up a big finish, it will be due in no small part to working with someone as experienced and skilled as Paulo. But coming from Magic Online with little big stage experience, leaves me to put Thiago Saporito at 23 on my list. Qualifying for Worlds as captain of Team Daneblast, winners of last year's World Magic Cup, Martin Mueller is the 3rd of the 4 competitors at Worlds not in the top 25 rankings. In fact, Martin has the lowest pro point count in the entire tournament, save only Magnus Lantau, the Mox qualifier. Also of note, Martin is the youngest player in the tournament at only 17 years old. There are definitely 2 sides to the coin of being super young. In short, confidence is good, but inexperience is not. It would not be the first time the youngest player in the field won the event. Without having seen much of his play, Martin's low ranking for me comes down to numbers. He had a lackluster season culminating in bombing PT Origins leading into Worlds, and that's why I have Martin Mueller at number 22. The last of our 4 players in the tournament not in the top 25 rankings, Martin Dang appears to be a long-time middling grinder that reached the point of true elevation. In the span of 2 months, he won a Mox event, a GP, and a PT. It's safe to say he was playing some damn fine Magic at that point, but it's no wonder that he didn't make the top 25 rankings. He wasn't even qualified for the first Pro Tours of the season. With such little experience at the top levels, it's hard to put him much higher than this. Team Tomo has seen some extraordinary success this year, taking down 2 trophies and putting 4 people into Worlds, and they're all working together. Magnus Lantau, Martin Mueller, Martin Dang, and Joel Larsen. Unfortunately, this is a very unique event, and none of the 4 of them have ever played it before. Coming in at number 20 is Spain's own Antonio del Moral Leon. He won Pro Tour Fate Reforged, which was a modern tournament, and he won it with Splinter Twin, a deck that is still legal and viable in the format. He is mostly a Magic Online player known to grinders everywhere as Charlie. He has a Moto PTQ win, as well as a Mox qualification, where he finished in the top 4. But as I've said earlier, Moto players tend to have a harder time at this event. Transitioning to live is a change that's big enough, but to transition to a 24-player event against the game's elite is yet another giant step removed. Antonio has only played 5 Pro Tours, which is extremely little experience relative to the field. One factor that may have me ranking him far too low is that I have no idea who he's working with. That is something that could definitely result in his standing being much higher. Another person who I have no idea about their squad is Hong Kong's Li Shichan, who took an APAC slot away from Japan and is currently the 5th ranked player in the world. Li could easily deserve a much higher slot if it turns out that he's working with the Japanese, but that's unknown at this time. He's certainly a modern mastermind, but that's only a quarter of the tournament. He has played this tournament twice before, which should give him invaluable experience. Unfortunately, he got dead last time around at 24th place, winning just 4 of his 14 matches. The time before that, he got 15th, which doesn't seem too terrible until you realize that back then there were only 16 competitors. He went 3-9 that year, bringing his total win percentage in this event to an abysmal 27%. Li's technical play has failed to impress in the past, and that coupled with not knowing anything about his preparation leaves LST at 19. Seth Manfield is the number 4 ranked player in the world. A limited mastermind with a ton of modern experience, he 6-0 draft on his way to top 8ing Pro Tour Fate Reforged, and his 3 GP wins are limited, and modern. He's working with standard masters Brad Nelson, Ari Lax, and Steve Rubin. He also has a bit of momentum coming into the event with a 43rd place finish in PT Origins and 40th place finish at GP San Diego. So how could I have him ranked so low? Well, there's 2 major factors. One is that I'm not sold he'll have his nerves under control early, and the other big one is the fact that he has an adorable 2-month-old baby girl. As far as distractions from playtesting and having a good sleep schedule go, a baby is about as high as you can get on the list. Pro Tour Khans of Tarkir champion Ari Lax is ranked number 7 in the world, and I'm really excited to see what his team can accomplish this weekend. Ari is an old school Midwest grinder coming from storied stock, representing the famous Michigan Shop RIW and a young Gavin Verhey's squad Team Unknown Stars. Ari can come off as a bit brash at times, but as somebody who A, knows him pretty well, and B, suffers a similar fate, I can assure you that he's simply really passionate about the game, comes from a culture of hyperbolic speaking as the norm, and that he actually has a very grounded perspective both on the game as well as his place in it. Ari obviously plays well, but has yet to prove himself to be more than a one-hit wonder. Anyone remember me saying that about Alex Hayne a couple years ago? I think he's gotten there. I talk a lot about momentum, and Ari's win came almost a whole year ago at the first PT of the season last October. While he's had a very solid year, his only other trip to the elimination rounds came in Team Limited in San Jose all the way back in January. With the solid but unexciting 65th place finish at PT Origins, Ari's momentum is tepid at best coming into Worlds. If you want to talk about momentum, it doesn't get much better than number 15 ranked Joel Larsen winning Pro Tour Origins, finally confirming that he was in fact younger, better, Swedish Kibler. As I said before, Joel is testing with fellow Team Tomo members Martin Mueller, Martin Dang, and Magnus Lanto. You know, when you're playing with a 6th of the tournament on your squad, ideally you'd have at least 1 year of experience at your disposal, especially for such a weird and unique event. Joel is a natural under the lights and is on a roll. If he can overcome the inexperience that him and his team suffer from, it's entirely possible that he'll be able to put together a deep run. Vice mini-documentary star Jacob Wilson barely snuck into this year's Worlds, nabbing the last at-large slot on tiebreakers over Andrew Cuneo, despite Jacob being ranked number 6 in the world. This will be his second trip to Worlds after placing a disappointing 19th of 24 in 2013. Jacob seems to be the opposite of consistent, failing to cash 3 of the 4 Pro Tours this year, but top 8ing the other. Much of his success in the past has come in Legacy, which is of no use to him here, but he also has good results in Modern, though Birthing Pod isn't legal anymore. Jacob has a great squad, and the eyes of the Tiger. The question for him this weekend is going to be whether or not he can rise to the challenge of fighting solely against the best in the world. The wonderkin from the Czech Republic, Ondřej Strašský, has had a fantastic year, with 2 PT top 8s leaping him into a number 11 slot in the world. Being a member of the European Super Team cabin crew has been instrumental in his development as a player, but nobody else from that team made it to Worlds this year. Instead, Strašský is working with the Brazilians, which is almost assuredly going to be extremely different than what he's used to. A lack of Pro Tour experience always makes me wary for these young guns, and Strašský has definitely shown himself to be an emotional player when the stakes are high. He played a Mox event in 2013, which is slightly better than zero experience in these small tournaments, but not by much. He may have bombed PT Origins, but he did get 9th on Breakers at the Standard GP in London, which could be either a very good or very bad thing for Ondřej. Everyone knows he's great at Modern, but number 14 in the world Sean McLaren also has a pretty impressive limited resume, which includes top-8ing the massive GP Vegas, which was Modern Masters 2, a format that will be played this weekend. He had a decent 40th place finish at PT Origins, but Sean, aka the champ, works alone, which can be very volatile and likely a disadvantage for an event like this. But it's certainly not without its benefits as well. He's not called the Lone Wolf for nothing, and it worked out for him last year as he missed top 4 on breakers. One of my favorite players to watch, I'm looking forward to seeing if he can improve on that finish last year. Steve Rubin has been quietly cutting up the Pro Tour this season. His PT finishes have been 31st, 40th, 20th, and 50th, with records 11-5, 11-5, 11-5, and 10-6. That's a 67.2% win rate at the Pro Tour. It's no wonder he's number 17 in the world. Part of me kinda hopes that he wins it all, so that the end interview will be like, "Hey, congratulations on becoming world champion. So who are you again?" People that only pay attention to Premier Play may not know much about him, but watchers of the StarCityGames.com Open Series are probably familiar with Steve Rubin, as he has 2 standard Open titles, beating fellow Worlds competitor Seth Manfield in the finals of one of them. His play is crisp, and I have confidence in his preparation for Constructed, as he's working with Brad, Ari, and Seth. The 2 things I'm less confident in for Steve are his ability to play against the elite, as while the consistencies of his finishes are impressive, we've yet to see him break through to the Sunday stage. And speaking of stages, my second concern for him would be regarding his overall inexperience under the lights. With few, if any, feature matches, no top 8s, and only 5 Pro Tours total under his belt, it's an adjustment that I hope he can make with the help of his more experienced teammates. Current number 8 in the world, Sam Black, is working in a duo with number 3 in the world, Hall of Famer Paul Rietzel, a partnership that certainly has a lot of brainpower as well as extremely complementary skill sets. Every time I make one of these, it breaks my heart to put Sam so low, but there seems to be something holding him back from individual success. He's one of the best deck builders in the game, and his technical play is usually on point as well. His game is perhaps not the strongest when it comes to playing against the elite, as it is very different than playing against even very good opponents. Sam is a very stylized player that often plays out of the ordinary decks. The advantage that he gains from having off-the-wall builds and game plans is extremely diminished when playing against world-class players. There's also the closing issue. With 2 PT top 8s and 10 GP top 8s, he doesn't have a single win. 12 attempts and missing what is existentially a 1 in 8 shot isn't the most outrageous pattern by any means, but when you also consider that of those 12 chances, he doesn't even have a single trip to the finals, it starts to paint a picture. His only time in the finals was at Nationals in 2008, but he didn't win that either. There were 2 times that he placed first in a Magic tournament before, but one was a team event in the form of Worlds in Memphis, and the other is that time that he won a car at the very beginning of his career in a side event. Admittedly a huge side event, but a side event nonetheless. He got a respectable 9th place out of 24 runners last year in his first and only appearance in the event, and had a decent finish with 48th place at the Pro Tour. I love Sam to death and have an enormous amount of respect for him, so I'd absolutely love to eat my words here, but I'm not sure if this is his tournament. Former Player of the Year Brad Nelson is ranked number 9 in the world, largely on the back of his outrageous win rate in Standard. Just look at his GP top 8s since 2010. While this is his first time playing in this event, as they started doing it the year after Brad won Player of the Year, he does have some experience in a very similar tournament structure in the form of the StarCityGames.com Players Championship from last year, a 16-person invite-only split format tournament, which he won. While his standard record is hard to beat, his limited game has often held him back. If he is to do well in this event, it will be due to a lot of Kenji Samura-esque hard work to improve his limited game. He has access to one of the better limited specialists in the tournament in the form of Seth Manfield, assuming he's not too busy with his new baby. 28th at the last PT, with a 4-2 record in draft, could be just enough kindling for FF Freak to put up a big finish. One of the greatest of all time, Paulo Vitor Damadurosa, is making a comeback. After a couple of years of less than total focus due to real-life obligations, PVDDR seems to have gotten the fire once again. Though he would have fallen 3 points short of an at-large bid, he had more than enough to secure a Latin American slot. Currently ranked at number 24 in the world, PV has actually played this event twice before with very polarized results. With a top 4 finish in 2012, he failed to qualify in 2013, then tied for dead last in 2014. But he's definitely not one to take a beating like that lying down, and I fully expect him to be on top form this weekend. I think the factor that would most hold Pablo Doritos back at this point is the inexperience of his team. Owen Turnwald is undoubtedly one of the most technically and mechanically sound players on the Pro Tour today. Ranked 10th in the world, his name is synonymous with consistency. But if Owen has a weak point, it's his ability to close. He won Player of the Year in 2011 with 0 PT top 8s, nor GP finals appearances, let alone wins. Even back when we were grinding PTQs together in the Midwest, everyone knew he was the best and he almost always top 8'd them, but never won. When he finally got the monkey off his back 2 years ago in a Legacy GP, it took him 7 days to pick up his second title. A year later, he would get his third in a Team Limited GP alongside William Huey Jensen and Reed Duke as PGO, or Peach Garden Oath. Working with them for every event has served them all quite well, but this year Owen is qualified and the rest of PGO is not. Owen's testing team for this event is great, don't get me wrong, but it does seem a bit odd the way that it was put together, and it won't be the same without PGO. Owen is exceptionally good at beating average to good players by simply sequencing more effectively and making correct decisions. This serves him well on the GP circuit, but at Worlds, against people that are capable of playing just as proficiently, it often takes a spark of outside-the-box thinking and imaginative tactics and strategies. Owen has also shown some nerves in the past, making very un-Owen-like mistakes in high-pressure camera matches. I imagine that's behind him now as he's gained more experience under the lights. This is his third trip to Worlds, having gotten 10th of 16 in 2012 and 13th of 24 in 2014. He does have a non-zero amount of momentum coming into 2015s, with a top 4 team finish in Detroit with PGO and a 36th place finish in GP San Diego. Mike Sigrist is your 2015 Player of the Year. Currently ranked number 2 in the world, he's coming off a second place finish at the last PT and has been playing exceptional Magic lately. He's even working with a great squad of Owen Turdenwald, Jacob Wilson, and Alex Hayne. So how could I have him so low on my list? Well, 3 reasons. The first is that this is a very weird and unique tournament structure. And while there are 4 total years of experience in the event on the team, Siggy has 0 of his own. The other 2 reasons I feel he might not be on his A+ game are his newborn twins. If Seth Manfield's 2-month-old is a distraction, then 2 newborns have to be an aberration. Hopefully he was able to get a lot of playtesting in and get enough sleep, but I have my doubts. Eric Froelich may not be the Player of the Year, but he is the number 1 player in the world right now, and rightfully so. In the Pro Tours this season, he placed 37th, 5th, 19th, and 19th. He has a ton of momentum coming into Worlds this year, as in addition to getting 19th at PT Origins, him and his team were the runners-up at the Team GP in Detroit, and he even cast GP San Diego, too. Not to mention that he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. His technical ability is top class, and his vision is one of the best of all time. It's not all cake and gravy, though. In 2013, Ifro went 4-8 in this event, placing 14th of 16 runners. He then failed to qualify in 2014. I've said in the past that it's very likely that there's a mental block for him in regards to closing in Magic. Similar to Sam Black, Ifro's only win comes in a team event. His only 2 finals appearances are also in team events. Of his 4 PT top 8s and 6 individual GP top 8s, he has yet to escape the semifinals. That being said, there's a ton of evidence that points towards progress, if not accomplishment, in regards to dealing with it. Eric has pretty much gotten the monkey off his back in the forms of his Hall of Fame induction and his Team Limited GP win. Things in his personal life seem to be a lot better than they have been in the past, and his social media, where he was once infamously negative and whiny, has shown the turning of a new leaf. And while it's easy to chalk it up to campaigning for Hall of Fame, I like to think that we're actually seeing the genuine result of hard work to be a more positive force in the community. His redefined outlook and general attitude adjustments are great to see, and are going to yield some awesome results for this already awesome player. Oh, and did I mention that he's working with back-to-back winner of this tournament, Shahar Shenhar? Yeah. Alexander Hayne has been to this event before in 2012, where he ended in a mediocre 8th place of 16 players, and after failing to qualify in 2013 or 2014, he's getting another chance after becoming this season's Grand Prix King, which apparently is a thing that exists. The man can demonstrably close, as he's won over half of the premier events that he's top 8'd. That's a pretty impressive conversion rate. He's shown himself to be an incredibly balanced and versatile player, winning tournaments of every format Magic can offer with wildly different strategies. In addition to that diversity, he is also a total natural at being under the lights, to the point where it seems like no amount of pressure could ever get to him. Both of those skills are highly valued for Worlds. And I can't say enough about the raw brain power on his team, and Alexander might be the perfect guy and in the perfect position to soak it all up. With a deep run resulting in a 36th place finish at PT Origins, I have an inkling that this could be a big tournament for Insane Hayne. Number 3 ranked player in the world, Hall of Famer Paul Rietzel, is working with Sam Black for this event, a partnership that is sure to be beneficial. If the decks that they come up with cater to Paul's stylistic play, I see him putting up a big finish this weekend. Paul is an infamous weekend warrior, maintaining a full-time job and fiancé at home while staying at the top of the game. But he has spent at least a few days in Seattle to prepare with Sam, which is more than he often gets to dedicate to preparing for events. Trying to improve on his exactly 12th place of 24 players last year, he has a 60th place at PT Origins and a standard top 4 at GP San Diego rolling into Worlds. Paul is one of those players that's so good that the stars can align pretty much at any point, and it seems to me that things are lining up quite well for him for this tournament. Kentaro Yamamoto is the 25th ranked player in the world, and you may think I'm crazy for having him this high on the list, but I have it on good authority that both Kentaro and Yuya are not only working together, but are also getting help from the one and only Hall of Fame elect Shota Yasoka. Kentaro has proven himself a well-rounded player with both strong technical skill and the spark of creativity necessary to gain an edge in this event full of absolute surgeons. Kentaro had an amazing showing last year in his first Worlds appearance, making it all the way to the top 4, and coming off of a top 8 at PT Origins, Kentaro is well poised to make another deep run. What's there to say about Shahar Shenhar besides that he has won this event in both of the past 2 years? He clearly understands this tournament structure and how to approach and defeat it. His play is phenomenal, and he excels in developed formats. The kid has poise and awareness well beyond his years, and has shown a willingness to step outside the box when called for. Few players can manipulate reality better than young Shahar, which makes him a fearsome opponent for extremely skilled players who are used to having solid ground to stand on comfortably. The thing that truly sets him apart, and something that explains a lot of his success at such a young age, is he is the embodiment of the principle of being a student of the game. Shahar respects the game and hopes to earn its respect back, which he has done multiple times over now but never takes for granted. He takes Magic seriously as a discipline, and puts in the time and effort necessary for greatness. The arrogance that often comes with youth, especially when success is mixed in, is notably absent from Shahar's demeanor. He is great, yet humble, and never misses an opportunity to learn. If you need evidence of his fearsome competitive spirit and respect for the game, look no further than the finals of Worlds 2013, when Shahar was down 0-2 in a best-of-5 against a terrible matchup against Reed Duke. He never gave up for a second, fighting tooth and nail for every percentage point he could get, and the rest is history. Currently ranked number 13 in the world, he's working with the world number 1 in Eric Froelich. They're also getting help from other members of Channel Fireball, such as Josh Utter-Layton, aka Raptor, and Luis Scott Vargas, aka LSV. And if all of that weren't enough, he's coming off of a deep run at the PT, finishing in 47th place, as well as a 34th place finish at GP San Diego, and a top 4 finish in Detroit's Team Limited GP. It's not far-fetched at all that we see a three-peat come Sunday. Drum roll, please. And your number 1, if you haven't been paying attention and already process of eliminationed it out, is Japanese phenom Yuya Watanabe. Few people in the history of the game have been as fun to watch play as Yuya, and few have had as much fun playing as Yuya. He has a truly unrivaled love of the game and has an artistry to his play that is as rare as it is mystifying. The man is just transcendent. His technical play is as good as anyone else's, and his ability to place an opponent on their exact level and strike one level above with such sharp precision is beyond impressive. His command over the flow of the game is poetry in motion, and his decisions all seem to be made with near psychic levels of knowledge about information that he shouldn't be able to have access to. I honestly could go on about how great he is in the abstract, but let's look at some tangibles relating to this event in particular. For starters, Yuya Watanabe is the only non-Shahar Shenhar player to ever win the tournament. Not only that, he's the only player to have qualified for all iterations of this event, and in those past 3, his finishes were 2nd seed into 1st place, 6th place one match out of top 4, and 1st seed into 3rd place. Currently ranked number 12 in the world, Yuya is working with mastermind Shota Yasoka, who tore this event apart in 2012 before finally succumbing in the finals to Yuya. If anything were to hold him back at this event, it'll probably be the fact that he hasn't been able to play as many live events recently due to the GP cap, or his lack of momentum coming in after a poor showing at PT Origins. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a share on your social medias with your Facebooks and your Twitters and your Reddits. And let's all get hyped for the best tournament of the year. Also, in case you didn't know, AJTV is back. So here are the 2 episodes that have happened, and you should check them out. Learn some stuff.